Hey guys, I'm Dan.
And I'm Bob.
And I'm Spencer.
This is the board game rundown. Today we are looking at Age of Wonders Planetfall by Arcane Wonders and Hobby World, it says. It is a 2 to 6 players game. And what does it say? I actually haven't looked. It plays in 40 minutes is what it says. Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
I'll give it that one.
Yeah.
So we're going to do multiple sections video for anyone who is looking for a certain thing. First, we're going to do a brief how to play if you're looking for that. Then we're going to have an open discussion on our thoughts in the game, things we like, things we don't like perhaps. And then we're going to rate it out of 10. But first, let's learn how to play the game. Hey, Spencer.
Hey, how are you?
Can you tell Bob to teach us how to play the game?
So, Bob, how do you play the game?
That's a great question, Spencer. So first, you're going to start off where everybody's going to pick a asymmetrical person, and you're going to choose which side, A or B, you would like to choose. They have different abilities on each side. You're going to take the appropriate little player marker and the cubes that go with it, place them on the board in the very obviously indicated spots that are highlighted, and then according to your initiative that is next to your name, you'll go lowest to highest in order to figure out what the actual player turn is going to be. And then in Planetfall, we're going to be exploring 7 different planets. You're going to be drafting 2 cards from each planet. And to draft a card, yes, you're going to start at the top player. Dan, we're playing out of order.
I cheated.
And you're going to choose a card, and then the next person would go and choose a card. And then you're going to resolve them from left to right, top to bottom, and placing, yes, your piece on top there in the order they go into, paying the appropriate resources as it says. And each card is going to have a variable resource cost depending on the type of card it is and which row it is in. There are also these operations that are always available throughout the 7 different planets that are going to allow you to basically build your experience points and your fight power up to be able to handle some of the more difficult cards. Once everybody's drafted their first round, your pieces will be back in here, and then in this order here, you'll draft your second card. Go ahead there, Spencer, and draft a second card. And then I will choose a second card, just randomly choosing here. And then we'll pay for those resources and those cards. Once those are chosen, you're going to collect the cards that are left over and get rid of them, and you're going to deal out the next planet in the same type of setup that we had for the first one. Now, the different cards you're going to be drafting are going to be like batteries for more energy. You can do fighting against the different alien species you might get, or there might be a diplomacy effect or alternative that you can use to try to recruit them to get different effects. There's different science cards, and there's also different territory landmarks that you can get for like a set collection to get bonus points and things like that. The iconography is super straightforward, and the book does a pretty good job of breaking all that down for you. But as going through, the gameplay is so fast that the 40-minute time limit is very accurate, I think. And we buzz through this game in about 45 minutes. So yeah, and that's the basic rundown on how it's played, though.
Might have been faster.
Yeah, it's very simple, rule set. Placing your token out, drafting those things by paying the resources, making sure you're triggering your asymmetrical abilities. And at the start of the round, there's a small income phase. There's not a lot of things that happen unless you have a card that gives you an income or an ability that gives you an income. There's not like, oh, everybody gains 2 fight every turn. Nothing like that. It's all based on the cards you draft and what your asymmetrical ability is. But that's the basic rundown of how you play the game. Did I miss? Oh, there is a card over there. There's like let's see here.
It's your endgame points.
Endgame points. There's a bunch of those. You're going to choose one at random. And they have 3 different types of endgame ways to earn victory points, like different types of set collections or how much energy you have, things like that. So, and they're all random. There's 3 on every one, and like you see, there's a slew of them. So you're going to pick one of those at the beginning, and that's another way that you'll be earning your points throughout the game.
Yep. I think that nailed it. Right. So we're going to go into an open discussion of what we think of Planetfall. Okay, guys, I was pretty happy with this. Honestly, I like the theme a lot. That's probably my number one thing. Well, I guess the gameplay is, I guess the gameplay is probably my number one thing, which I'll get to. But I love the theme here. I love that we're visiting that planet, and we're kind of, researching and fighting and stuff like that. And then we move on to the next planet, very thematic. And then I assume the theme here is that that's like our home planet. And so that's like what they want. Yeah, they want us to do that while we're out. Like, I really like that. Having an A and B side, so I can have this character and have 2 completely different abilities, So this one was like, oh, I'll do this and see how this gets me. I like that a lot. The turn order draft style is very intuitive. It's so simple to understand what's happening here. And the operations are really interesting because it goes like it speaks about the positive balance of the game. I think that these are like insanely powerful, and yet you like don't want to have to take them, you know, like it's almost like what you do if you can't do anything else, and then you do it, then you're like, oh, I should have just done this anyway. Like I can just gain
a lot out of it.
Yeah, I can just gain 4 experience, you know, by going there. Like that's crazy. So don't overlook the operations is all I'm saying, but I think there's a really cool balance here. I like this with this being like I'll call it a grid system, but you know, this like tableau thing that's going on here. I like that I looked at all the abilities, and I like that a lot of them interact with doing things in certain tiers of them, or doing things on certain ability cards of them. So there's a real spatial thing that you're feeling there too. Again, my character that I keep showing off here, I got a bonus every time I took a level 2 card. So I was trying to see how I could play off the endgame points while trying to stick to level 2 just to get that constant bonus. It didn't always work, but it was fun to have to try to play inside this grid like that. My only negative really is the components are a bit weak, but that will not impact my score. They do not. It's not like they suck. Right. It's just that, especially because we set this up. Yeah, we set this up, and I went, "This is Arcane Wonders," because like they're all about these crazy production value
components.
And this one feels more like they're trying to start like a side, like how Awakened Realms has Awakened Realms Light. Like it almost feels like this is like Arcane Wonders Light. And again, no negative to that. Whatever, the game is more affordable that way, and it does for a game this simple. It doesn't need to be $200 or anything.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I was surprised that like when I picked this up, I was just like, this doesn't feel.
I wish this was dual layer.
That's
sure.
because
if I just breathe on it, it moves.
Yeah,
like,
it has,
which one was
that
it on?
same terraforming Mars problem, right? Where you want to get that overlay thing because your cubes are constantly
so
getting
it doesn't move around.
But again, it's not like this is bad quality.
Right.
It's just that when you feel it, you're like, this doesn't feel like Arcane Wonders.
Yeah.
But overall, I really like the gameplay, and until I jump in on something I forgot that you guys mentioned, I think I'm pretty good with that.
Right. I agree with Dan and Spencer. Like I wish that it was dual layer. I mean, they'll probably increase the cost a little bit, or maybe they get some kind of an overlay to go on it, because the cubes do slide around about, especially if like you're reaching over and you bump your thing a little bit. But other than that, like my other biggest complaint is this: I can't tell those apart.
Bob is colorblind if you're new to the channel.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, that doesn't matter, right? The thing that matters is the shape of the big one, because that's the one that's going to be out there on the board. You can see who is where. The cubes are only used for marking things on your own personal board, thankfully, because otherwise I would have to dock it, because I do that, because I know being colorblind. If they're putting these cubes out there and I'm trying to figure out who's trying to claim what, and I can't tell and I have to keep asking, that's kind of like a giveaway as to what I'm trying to look for, what I'm trying to do. I don't like that at all. But thankfully, it's only used to mark on your board, and that all the pieces that go into the communal area are all uniquely shaped, and so I can tell who is who very easily. So that's good. But
they also chose really unattractive colors.
Yeah,
too.
They are kind of ugly colors.
This is a weird green and orange choice. Again, doesn't matter at all. But
Sure.
it's just once you pointed them out because of colorblind issue, I was like, I don't like them either.
Well, even then, the shape of the ships
matches
a very
on your board.
tiny outline on the board.
Right.
I was like, and on mine, there's like another line going into it, so it's hard to tell what it is. But
yeah, no, but like I say, the art is fine. Like I like that, and even like the set collection. So when you collect these monuments, once you get your second one of the same type, there's a little tiny icon on there, and it goes by that. And so that's the icon you can look at. So the colors and everything don't really matter. The icons up top are super easy to delineate. You know, what's a battery? You know, for energy, which one's science, which one are you fighting? Those are super easy to tell apart. So there was no real issue there, so that's good. Go ahead.
No, sorry, continue.
I want to say, 7 planets. Like we're playing through this and we're going so quick, and I was like, I could go for like 3 more planets, you know. So hopefully they'll keep releasing more stuff for it, because it's something I think that would be super easy to work through this and like add. This is a planet 4, so you get rid of the old planet and use this planet instead.
Exactly, that's gonna happen a lot probably. I bet in the future, and also like I could see like negative cards that get shuffled into there, and they like take up a spot and do something.
Okay,
you know, like this now increases the price of the 2 cards next to it or something. Like I could see that kind of stuff happening.
Another thing I do really appreciate is that when you do come time to collect like your monuments and whatnot, since you do get a bonus for having extra ones, it tells you what other planets that those are going to be located on. So that is super helpful, and really nice meta information to have while you're playing the game.
Ooh, you can have a card that I give to you.
You know that.
I'll give this card to somebody and it gives them a penalty. Like each income phase, you got to pay 2 energy or something like that. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, the dichotomy. Yeah.
I'm the one who came up with it.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of potential here for the future for sure.
Absolutely.
I really like the design. It doesn't matter at all, but this like almost 7 shape that they gave with this player board here and then them going there, it's a really nice, for being a bunch of cards sitting on a table with a little board next to it, I think it actually has an interesting table presence. When you mix the shape of the cards with the art on the cards, I think Arcane Wonders nailed table presence in a way that they normally don't. Like, they normally are just like, put giant buildings on the table. And this time they were like, oh, just make the cards look in a cool shape.
In a cool pattern. Yeah. Well, and they do have a player mat for this is available, but it does not fit in the box. So, yeah, I got it on that.
Well, I like how the player order changes depending on if you want to do it. You get in front of me, and now so you kind of get penalized. And since every card's cost or benefit changes depending on which tier it's in, I really like that system. It kind of regulates itself.
Yeah, I can pay less if I go down here, but now it'll be later in the turn next time.
Beautiful.
But
beautiful
some of them were the other way around. Where I'm like, if you go further down, like in this one, you get better stuff.
Get more energy.
You go down. And it's
you're
harder to fight,
spending time charging the battery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and then some of them have an effect where you can flip them upside down and tuck them, and that kind of adds to your income and like a little bit of engine building type of feel to it. And a lot of them will give you like, oh, it's cheaper to buy this, and if you buy this and this, you get another bonus, and so everything kind of procs off each other, and it's super interesting.
I really like the art.
Yeah.
I mean,
very simple, but I love the planet art. The planet art is stunning.
The planet art is amazing.
The art on the cards is hit and miss for me. It's fine.
Yeah, because most of the batteries kind of look alike, but the monsters are unique.
It's also a very tight economy because I mean there's many times where I'm like, well, I'm giving up all my strength again. Yeah. Because you don't naturally get it back. So like this was the only card I know of that gives you strength as an income, and it's not very much.
Not very much.
So you're kind of
you got to do operations,
trying to figure it out,
doing operations and build your strength back up.
And that's why these guys are so nice. So you need to have the experience points so that you can negotiate instead of fight, because that gives you your strength back.
Incredible way to work theme into such a simple game. Yeah, that's awesome. So well, I'm experienced enough. I'm high enough authority that I'll just talk to the person instead. Like I really like that a lot. So any other final thoughts, guys, as we go into this?
No, I kind of wish it was a little longer.
That's what I said. Yeah, a couple more planets on there. That'd be another way to do expansions too, right? Just add 8, 9, or 10 on there.
Yeah, the fact that they're numbered makes that very easy to just add on. I think it's in a good spot right now. Instead of adding planets, I'd rather them mix cards into the other planets to make it more interesting. But I wouldn't be against that. I said a similar thing with It's a Wonderful World, where I'm just like, I think it's a beautiful length game, but if it was a little longer, I've heard people say they wish they had one more turn in that game. So, well, as we finish this up, let's hear a quick word from our Patreon, and then we'll get into our rating.
Whoa! Hold on a minute, guys. Have you even told them about Patreon yet? That's right, it's only $5 a month. Check us out on Patreon. We'll get more quality videos to your living room.
Guys, I don't know what you guys are going to rate it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right out of the gate here, actually, and I'm actually... Man, I really like games like this. Again, It's a Wonderful World is fantastic to me. I really like this tableau build, engine builder, real simple card-looking game that's also pretty. I was thinking between a couple numbers, I'm going to fall on an 8. I really liked Age of Wonders Planetfall. Arcane Wonders makes good games in general. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Smartphone was them.
Smartphone's fantastic. Watch our review on that. It's the only game actually rated 10.
Everyone loves it. Everyone in the world loves it. I'm the only one that doesn't. And I think it's a great game. I'm just terrible at it. But I'm going to give it an 8. I think Planetfall was really good.
You know, I was about to say, Dan, you're 100% right, but you're like 80% right, because you're wrong about Smartphone. But this game is an 8, so I'm going to give it an 8 as well. Because it's really good. It's one I'm going to reach for to want to play. Nowhere near overstaying its welcome. You can play it, bang it out, get it put back away in an hour, and that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and less than an hour, and that's why I'm also giving it an 8.
Hey.
I wonder what the average is.
Hang on, let me divide that out.
I'm just ahead of the curve.
That's an 8.
Oh my goodness. Hey guys, I think that's a really great score for this game, and not just because I gave it.
Me too.
What? No, but guys, check out Age of Wonders Planetfall. It's a very simple game. So by hearing us talk about it right there, you know whether you like it or not. And just let us know in the comments below if you've played it already and if you enjoyed it, or if not, does seeing something like this make you more likely to play it? Are you like, oh, that's what it looks like and plays like? I'm more likely to try this out now, because that is always interesting to me. But in the meantime, from the Board Game Rundown, I've been Dan.
Bob.
Spencer.
And this was Age of Wonders Planetfall from Arcane Wonders. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.